Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nate.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
The inaccurate Dons lose their first game in Melbourne for 2024 in front of 88,000 people at the G. Essendon 9-16-70 to Carlton 15-6-96. Welcome back to the Don Pod for a sombre, solemn review of Sunday night football. I'm joined by Nathan. Hello.
Hey. Hello, Sam. You just reminded me it's Monday today.
It's Monday, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit thrown out.
Could be at work. I guess this is better than
my
that.
alarm did go off this morning, so I was a bit annoyed with myself. Oh,
Yeah, I remember to turn mine off as I crawled into bed, sad and lonely. Lonely's
No, I was
nothing to do
sad,
with it,
wasn't
but I was
lonely.
sad. Yeah.
Just
What's that like?
Annoying. They take up a lot.
Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough, actually.
Women do they take blankets? Fart a lot,
Yeah, because I'm sure you sit there prim and proper and quiet.
Never farted in my life, Sam.
No, I'm sure. What a start. Frustration. We're going to try and put it into words, but let's be honest. It was one of the more infuriating games I can remember watching of this football club, which says a lot, honestly. It says an awful lot.
That does say a lot.
Weirdly, we had some actual goal scorers. So Martin, Guelphy 2, Stringer, Jones, Gresham, Durham and Cox 1 each. Martin, Langford, Caldwell, Setterfield, Perkins and Menzies combined for a total 2 goals 9.
Far out.
And the 2 goals were Martin. Martin kicked 2 goals too, so the rest of them was 0-7.
It's very similar to last week, isn't it? Like
we had the same three-quarter time scorers last week. 6-13.
Oh, really? Oh, God, that's gross.
Leading disposals, Martin 26, Wrigley Caldwell 22. Fairly low numbers on that front.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to rip in. As I say, very frustrating game of football. I was there. You were not.
No.
And rumour has it you may or may not have watched the whole thing.
There were points where I turned off. I don't know if anyone else was as frustrated as me. I'm sure, I feel like you should have been. But early in the first and the second quarter, I had to walk away for periods just to walk outside and get some fresh air.
They turned the lights off in the pre-match. And at one point in the first half, I was thinking, can we turn the lights off again?
Yeah.
I don't need to see this. It's okay. That was as good as it was going to get for me turning it off.
It was one of those games that was hard to watch for me because of I felt like we were playing really good in patches, but if you don't put it on the scoreboard, like missing early, like that first quarter, just for example, Guelphy's set shot and who was the other had a really simple set shot? Menzies. Like they were 30 meters out, no angle to speak of, and both of them miss. I'm like, you're playing a very, very good team, probably second or third best team in the competition at the moment, and you cannot afford to be, just miss this.
Yeah, it's shit football. Bad kicking, bad football. Or as well, I heard one bloke say, bad football is bad kicking, which was new. Close enough. I think the sentiment's still there.
Yeah.
May or may not have been drunken. Not sure. It was, tough to watch.
Yep.
A few players. I mean, it's hard in games like these because there's not a lot. Sort of the best of a bad bunch, really. But we did dominate parts of the game, so there had to be players responsible for that. I want to mention Cox off the top. It just 12 touches, a goal and 3 tackles. Nothing spectacular at all there, but I thought he was on the wing for pretty much the entire game. He was sort of more the attacking wing, which I like because when he does drift forward, it's a 2 meter tall target. And once he gets a bit stronger, that'll be a real weapon to have. He kicked 1 goal, 1, I believe. And he just was in the right spots. He was composed with the ball, managed to hit the scoreboard, took a pack mark in front of goal. I just liked the game, really. That was all.
Yeah, and like Caldwell and Merritt were other 2 real positives for me. Like they, I think Caldwell had 8 tackles. He, he did a really good sort of job on the midfielders there for Carlton. He looked like he was mostly on, what's his name? Cripps. Yep. But he also seemed to be pressuring other guys. And look, in his development, again, he's only about 60 odd games in. that midfield role, setting a really good development. Obviously, Merritt's just doing his thing that he does. But
yeah.
that's,
So
I think that, I was really frustrated. I'm going to say that a lot. I was really frustrated with that game last night. But I'll try and find a couple positives in it as well. I think that's an important part of this growth of this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's our job. But I don't want to be, things are still good. Because I think there's some massive...
things aren't good.
Yeah, things are not good. So there's some massive issues I cannot deal with. We'll get to them later. But there's some real pain in the ass. Please explain. I'm nearly going to write... Here's one. You'll love this. I nearly felt like writing an email to the club.
You and your emails.
I just felt like I just want an explanation on why.
Well, there's a lot to talk about with the coaching, let's be honest. You've mentioned two plays there rightfully. So Merritt, 21 touches, 11 tackles. And I've neglected to write the number of clearances there, 6. Yep. Caldwell, 22 touches and 8 tackles. And I must say, Caldwell was warming up in the retro jacket.
Yeah, I love the retro jacket.
But it just suits Calder's. It just suits him. I don't know what it is. He had like the slicked back hair from the 20s and the... it was a great look.
I do love the retro jacket. I love the retro look. I love the...
That's when they actually won premierships, retro.
The other thing I'll make a quick mention too was Mrs. Mackay, I guess. I assume she's a Mrs.
The mum.
In the half Carlton, half Essendon scarf.
Oh, I didn't see that. Not seeing it until that's good.
Well, I assumed it was.
I
don't know if she's just wearing 2 scarves perfectly placed around her shoulder. I don't know how she was wearing it, but
good on you. That's really great. I like
They went to a shot of her when Mackay kicked the first goal. Oh, his first goal, so early in that first quarter, and she was kind of, what do I do?
I think, yeah. Must be tough. That's good. I like that. It's about the only time a half and half scarf is probably appropriate, I reckon.
Yeah.
There's a big culture of that in soccer, the half and half scarves.
Is it?
They sell them as like a memento that I went to this game. Like it's got team versus team on this date. It's like a souvenir.
Oh, there you go.
In people like who actually live in England or whatever and watch football regularly. That's a bit of a tourists.
Yeah, that feels touristy.
Yeah. I've got 2 of them.
You've been a tourist.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one I had on my list there was Nick Martin, 26 touches, 2 goals and 4 tackles. Yeah. The switch of him forward in the second half. Really, we dominated the second half for probably 75% of it, and he was a large part of why. Some interesting things I noticed between Laverde and a handful of others, I'll be honest, one of which was Martin. I don't remember the time of game. Must have been third quarter. Goldie was one-on-one sort of on just outside 50 on the far side, and Goldie's not going to defend well in that situation because it's Goldie, one little fake step and Goldie's kind of cooked.
He doesn't have a sidestep. Nope.
No. So the Carlton guy got around him fairly easily. Martin was just kind of running alongside and the ball went inside 50 and got cleared, but Laverde absolutely tore into Martin.
Oh, good.
Like, get the fuck over there.
Yep.
You need to defend. Can't have been second half there. Must have been first half. Anyway. And Laverde was honestly reminding me of prime Brendan Goddard. There was a lot of pointing going on.
That's good.
But honestly, I'm here for it. If your teammates aren't doing the right thing, and we talk about the back 6 and the entry inside 50 is the main culprit for why our back 6 can suck.
Yep.
You fucking tell them. Like, that's
and I still don't know about the Nick Martin defensive role. I mean, we see him to play a game like that in the third and fourth quarter, and you think, well,
it's pretty clear when you make that change and the whole game turns.
Yeah,
his disposal is still giving me the shits.
Yep, that's fine.
Because his whole,
but it's his creativity that I get. You want that in the defense, but he doesn't have a defensive bone in his body, and I think that's what the Laverde sort of incident is pointing. He doesn't really.
Yeah, there's space there, mate. That's dangerous space. You need to get over there and do something about it, and. Yeah. I love that from Laverde. That is just elite mindset to be, you need to fucking be over there.
Yep, I agree.
And Martin gave him a quip back and I sort of sat there and went, I support both of you. I'm on both of your sides.
Come on, Sam.
Martin ran past the umpire at one point and gave him a spray too. I was waiting for the
that was probably from the kick that he tried to give to McGovern.
No, it was way later than that.
He's probably still dirty on that one.
That was on the other side of the ground to where we are. This was all happening.
We won't get to the umpiring.
Because that's all I can see is about a 10-metre radius in front of me when I sit front row level 1. You don't get a lot of far side views.
Okay, yep.
The last player on my list is Goldstein, and This is becoming a common theme every time. I hoped that having a week off for Goldie, class is permanent, et cetera, et cetera. He might come back. Well, Pendlebury, if we can just use that as an example.
Pendlebury was,
I know, but class.
Yeah. Go on.
It just didn't happen. And we were sitting there in the third quarter and they're cycling through the stats on the big screen. And every single stat we were well on top of.
Yeah.
And I will get to that because there's a few big discussions to have there.
Yep.
But hit-outs, we were up. Hit-outs to advantage, we were up.
Mm-hmm.
Tom de Koning had 11 clearances.
And how many did Goldie have?
Well, he had 9. But I dare say that Goldstein's given... Again, this is just one of those things that's the vibe. I don't have numbers to back it up. The Konings were a lot better than Goldie's. De
Koning killed him. Let's be honest. De Koning killed him. I don't care what the numbers tell me. Like watching the game with my eyes.
Vibes, yep.
With my peepers. De Koning was the dominant player on the ground for periods. But he stopped. He was great defensively. He got down and took marks. He was good on the wing. They used him to go forward. And this is the thing I think that was lost a little bit about Nick Bryan last week is that I thought, even though his ruck work wasn't great, it was he's around the ground. There were shots of him running with the midfielders, clearing the ball out, and he'd get the handball, he'd give the handball off to another one, or he'd kick. He made good decisions there because that's one of his real strengths. Ruck, not yet, but he's working on that. He's gonna kick. That's why I would have played the 2 ruckmen because they're coming up against a very mobile ruckman, which I reckon Goldie's a bit shit at.
Well, it's interesting. There's 2 things there. One, Brian, and again, we say this every week, and we were kind of proven wrong last week, but I'll continue to say it. Brian would have been a better matchup for de Koning. I think he would have still been beaten because de Koning's a lot stronger and probably 4 or 5 years good ahead of Brian. Maybe not quite that much.
But the point there is that he's been allowed to play games.
Would have at least got him around the ground.
He would have been as good as him around the ground.
There was one point in the first half where de Koning had the ball sort of 60 out, and I was like, where the fuck's Goldstein? He plonked himself at fullback. So that was I was like, okay, good, fair enough.
And he did that a lot. He went back, and that was fine. But we hadn't, that just meant de Koning just hung, because they had the 2 tall forwards, we had to do that. So de Koning was smart and just hung around the middle and got marks and took it. Whereas if we'd had a second ruckman, he could have rolled up to de Koning.
You would have had someone on de Koning and your fullback maybe. Yeah.
That's right. And this is... And this goes to the coaching thing we'll discuss later, but the couple of decisions, like, guys playing what looks to me out of position is starting to really frustrate me. I felt like we'd lost the game in the first quarter by their coach. Their coach out-coached our coach.
What's the coaches there? Let's talk about that now. I did want to mention quickly there, my second point, Peter Wright, who is driving me insane. Hey, he's our boy. Don't you dare. Can't jump off that quickly.
Guys.
As a forward right now and I've said this for a couple of weeks in a row now, driving me insane.
Oh, come on.
However, second half, when he was in the ruck, we were a way better side. He was genuinely a better ruckman on the night than Goldstein was, which is dumb. All the numbers don't suggest that at all.
Yep.
I accept that. But we looked so much better when Pete was in the ruck because... He's still 2 meters tall. He's still a big dude, but just offered more, competed.
Well,
more.
I think that's because of his mobility. Like Goldie's losing that really quickly. That mobility,
which is not something I'd say about Pete usually, but by comparison to Goldstein, yes.
If I guess the problem for me is if we're not winning the clearances, which we're not at the moment, the semi clearances, all the stoppage clearances, then Goldstein, even though he seems to be winning the hitouts and the hit outs to advantage, which I don't understand. If that's not working for us, then and we're getting flogged around the ground, then I just think this is why I think Draper's a good ruckman for us because he's around the groundwork. He's really good. He bowls through midfielders. He tackles. He hurts.
It's amazing, isn't it?
He gives a bit of intimidation. He gives a bit of motivation too for the other players, like the knowing that he'll be there cracking in, smacking into players. Whereas Goldie is the opposite player. He does not want to hurt anyone. He does not want to, physically intimidate anyone. He sometimes doesn't even look like he wants to go for a centre bounce and actually jump into the other guy. Just sort of like, I'll just jump and stick my arm up sometimes and go, you got that one.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's kind of that whole thing. You don't know what you got till it's gone. We were kind of a bit hard on Draper. And then it turns out he was a little bit injured. And then now we're going, shit, okay. We're he's quite important to us. And then the second one on that, we do the same thing with Parrish, or I did the same thing with Parrish. Was like,
You
no,
did
he's
the
a bit
same.
shit.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
know.
he's that important anymore. And
Then
now
when
he's
he's not
been
there.
out for a month. I'm going, Jesus.
Could do with someone who can clearance.
We could use that strength in the contest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think this is the other factor that we probably won't discuss as much as the outs. I think are starting to hurt us, and I don't think they're coming back in. Like obviously, Setterfield went out injured, and
He's had his knee again,
the knee again. So what they'll tell us one week,
Might be
and
seven or
it'll be
eight.
6, I guess. Yeah,
Yep.
That's how it normally works with the club. But yeah, I would. Here's the question I have: is at what point does Bryant get a decent run? Like, can't play one game. That's not fair on a kid.
Totally
to
agree.
come in and play one game and then you're back out.
I guess it depends on the long-term view there, because
Yes,
Draper
exactly.
will
And
be
that's what I'm
back
kind of asking. Yeah,
2 weeks after the bye, maybe. Might be Geelong we play
I
after
reckon
West Coast.
I reckon he'll be back after the bye because
Maybe,
he was,
okay,
he was
yeah.
nearly at training Thursday, nearly full training.
So, start of the year, we were playing Goldstein and Draper. If
Yep.
that's still what we want to do, then that can happen. I'm okay. If they have looked at Goldie and gone, well, you're not really it, mate, then play Draper and Brian. But I think the problem at the moment with playing Brian is that they don't want to play him as the lone ruckman.
That's fair enough. I don't think that it's a massive issue. I don't see what the problem is playing the kid. That we're not winning a premiership this year. Do we all agree? Yes. Put up your hand if we agree with that. Right.
Like
then
the video,
what's the
if you
point of
agree.
playing the 35-year-old ruckman who's
Agree.
going to give up football, or be told hopefully to give up football very soon, over the kid that just needs to either find development or not be at the club? Like, that's the simple fact for Brian. If you don't think he's good enough, and that's fair enough, you can have that view.
I think you
How about we give him a run playing seniors football and then find that out?
Yeah, after the bye, go up to Nick and say, you're playing 4 weeks in a row.
Well,
Unless
you're
you
playing
get
the rest
injured.
of the year.
Well, whatever, but more
Yeah.
than just one game. He's getting nothing from playing one game. And yes, he was beaten in that one game he played, but it shouldn't matter at this point
exactly
of his
right.
career.
It's not about... You can't come in and play one game and dominate. Even if he dominated that game last week, he still would have been dropped this week.
100%.
He was on a hiding to nothing last week. He was... And all the supporters going to say, hey, shit, go back to the VFL. But the fact is, even if he'd won against Moyle, they would have just said, oh, it's just Moyle. It was a backup ruckman anyway for them. So it wouldn't have mattered. Like
You have nailed the fickle nature of a supporter there. And every supporter, not.
So he would have been back in the VFL and went, yeah, Goldie's back. Go. Whereas I'm of the view, and the other one I'll throw into this is Sardis. I don't get this Sardis as a sub thing.
That's a poor choice.
I cannot see how this kid's developing. Like, you can talk about his kicking. There's some issues there.
The set shot he had for goal, I have never seen a ball move like that.
Yeah,
It was a reverse inside out backwards tour.
Let's just play him in the VFL. And if he's got kicking problems, let him develop that at a VFL level for full games of football.
He could have come on and played an absolute blinder. There is nothing being gained from him from being a sub.
Well, there's no fitness, there's no skill, there's no advance. Play Shield. Like, I don't understand. Shield's the perfect sub at the moment. Like, he's obviously out of favour, barely, getting the game. Obviously, they're sticking him in the VFL. Why not have him for 20 minutes in the fourth quarter? Like, he could come on and do something. I don't know what he can do, but I'd rather see the old man come on for 20 minutes and putt around.
It's again, we're not winning a flag. We should still be thinking about development first. And that kid is not developing by coming on, having 3 shit kicks in 15 minutes of football. And I don't get what they've done to that poor guy's kicking, because it was weird. It looked weird from the get-go, but it was still nice.
Effective, yep. Well,
now,
more effective.
It's mongrels. Absolute mongrel. He dribbled one.
He's got voices in his head. Like, they're trying
some
to...
issues
And we've
there.
seen footage of him being, trained how to kick it at training. And
how do you
it's getting
get
worse.
to being 18 years old, taken at pick 5 or 4?
He's meant to go, pretty low. And you can't kick.
And you got some kicking issues. That's just,
not some kicking issues.
Well, yeah,
Getting the ball to your foot looks ugly.
I don't want to be too hard on the kid, but
well, no, I'm not being hard. I think we're being hard on the club.
But
I think it's
weird.
not Sardis' fault.
If we didn't take him, he would have been taking the pick after. Like, it's not just us here. I don't get how you can get that far to be drafted in the top 10 picks. Probably top 5. I really can't remember.
Yeah, no, it's top 5. It was 5 or 6. But the point I'm trying to make is if it's a problem, and we just saw it's a problem, it was a problem last week too. Like it wasn't. It's not something that just popped its
He's
head
not
up
an
this
impact
week.
player. If nothing
No,
else. Yeah.
put him in the VFL, and unless you're going to give him a full game in the seniors, do not worry about it. And this is part of my letter. Explain to me why you do it. Oh, that 10 minutes is really important for him. What?
What's it doing? Yeah,
That's really developing his fucking nothing.
You're
Like,
robbing
it's
him
just,
of. Yeah,
It's just
I agree.
not. What other club? Name the other club that's picking their, pick 5 for 15 minutes of footy.
I agree. He would get so much more out of a VFL game. Now, we were going to talk about the coaching. So, obvious ones, Jake Kelly was at centre half forward.
Oh. He was in the midfield at some stage. I watched him in the clearance. I'll go, fuck off, get out of there.
And then second half, Martin went forward, changed the game. Kelly went back. Don't know what he did really, but he was back. But
it's what he does down there. Like he helps
him,
settle them.
Pinged him for a free kick. It was actually a very good spoil.
I want to
get to that. Let's talk about the coaching. Let's talk about the coaching. That's where we are now. Jai Menzies played on half back. Of all the changes I thought I would see, that might have been second last on my list after Peter Wright playing fullback. Maybe after Ben Mackay playing full forward.
Yeah, so you mocked me for my Ben Mackay forward option. I think we've got I've decided that we've got the shitter Mackay too. I think that we need to have the other one.
No, we'll talk about that too. I think that's on my list. Look, Menzies, my mate Jace gave me the most perfect summation of Jai Menzies. He has golden retriever energy.
He does. I like that.
He had a good game. He had like 20 touches on. I don't know how many it was actually. I should probably fact check that. He had 20.
20.
It was
20 disposals, 11 kicks, 9 handballs.
I know stuff.
That's a good stat.
I don't know about his defensive acumen. He's a bit like Martin. But again, how on God's green earth after GWS, North Melbourne, Richmond, where Jake Kelly played back and played well, can you seriously look at me in the eye and tell me you're going to play Jai Menzies as a half back and plonk Kelly at centre half forward?
This is in my letter, Sam. This is part of my letter.
How does that work? On what?
It doesn't fucking work.
If Jake Kelly is not in your best 22 as a defender, he's not in the best 22. And I wholeheartedly believe he is a best 22 defender.
Yep. I have no problem with Jake Kelly in the back six. He's a very good back six.
How are we still talking about this man?
But explain to me when the game's gone at halftime because you've let him kick 4 goals or 5 goals lead, which is all you need in a game like this is a 4 or 5 goal lead because it's hard to peg that back against quality teams. We're not Sydney, hate to break it to you, who run over teams. Far from it. Then why don't you start with your best team? Why don't you start with Jake Kelly down the back line? I don't mind Merritt down there as well, but then fuck Heppel off to somewhere else.
I think you've nailed it, really. When we had that talk before about Laverde telling off Martin, he doesn't have a defensive bone in his body. And even if you want to play that role that they want him to play, I can see the role they're trying to get him to play. You've got to have a bit of defensive nonce. That's not right.
Nous.
You've got to just know where the space is, know what's going on around you. And Nick Martin is a very good footballer. But I reckon he's lacking in that department. And again, I'll reiterate, he went forward, kicked 2 goals, and changed the game. So, Brad, or I might call him Bad Scott, I might actually jump on that.
He's close to that.
Hello, you have an answer there. Well, how Jai Menzies still stayed at fullback or halfback, I don't know. But Kelly went back, Martin went forward. It worked. Yeah. Let's keep doing that. You've got a creative guy in Martin who can kick the ball, who can see an option, who can kick goals, create space. Let's play him in the most damaging position.
And I would argue that part of that is that by sending Kelly back, you hope to then allow him to support someone like Ridley, who can then become your kicker because he can do that role. We know he can kick the ball very well. And look, he doesn't burst out of the back half.
No, but his kicking is lovely. When he's got the ball in hand, it's just you relax. You relax in your chair and go, he's going to hit the target. While we're on coaching decisions, sorry, I don't want to jump away too quickly.
You go.
Ridley on Curnow was not something I expected. For the first 10 minutes, Ridley
fucking
got
ugly in the first 10 minutes.
Belted.
The 2 marking contests where Curnow just went, excuse me, I'll just mark this. Can you move over there?
From that point on, honestly, Ridley had him. Curnow kicked one more goal in the last quarter that was not a free kick. Again, not a free kick. Other than that, Ridley played really fucking well on him. And I think there's an element here that I don't like is that you're taking Ridley out of that intercept role,
Yeah,
which I think we need,
the problem I have.
especially without Redmond there as well. But that matchup, I've got to credit where it's due. That was the right choice.
Yeah.
It was either Laverde on Curnow or Ridley on Curnow, and I think that was the better option.
I think that one's. I didn't like it, but it turned better.
It got better as it went.
But
for the
I
first
still
10
wonder
minutes,
if it got better because Kelly then went back, like in the second half.
No,
I don't know.
It was still second quarter. Ridley was still better.
But Ridley, we lost that drive. Anyway, I think that one, I can get that one. I can handle that one. The Kelly up forward, I cannot handle, especially when you got a guy like the thing about Kelly, don't play him forward, play him back. I agree. If you're looking for extra forwards, Caddy. Why not play Caddy as a genuine centre half forward? Like the kid, again, we talk about the development of these kids. He had a pretty good game in the VFL. Like he kicked 3, I think.
But you don't even have to go that drastic because you've got Nick Martin. It's just, and this is why it's so frustrating and hard. Because it's so obvious.
But the point I'm trying to make is that why are we trying to turn guys that are clearly defenders or clearly forwards like Menzies, and we'll in game we're throwing them back and forward. Like I would get this if Kelly had gone to the VFL and played 6 weeks as a forward. I'd get that and go, yeah, well they've been trying that. Yep. I don't like the idea of trying Menzies.
We're experimenting in the AFL.
We're experimenting in
against
the seniors.
The second best team in the comp.
Here's the second best team in the competition. We'll throw our small forward, who's kicked 20-odd goals last year, was a pretty good small forward, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a bit ratty.
Yeah. To be honest, he was fine. We'll just go send him back because... Explain to me why. Because, Redmond's out? Then bring in a fucking VFL player.
Bring in Hayes. Bring in Roberts. Bring in
a VFL defender, you morons. Like, seriously, what's the point of... If I'm in the VFL, I'll be just going, stuff it. I'm going to another club because I don't think I'm getting a game at all.
Yeah. Morons got a run last night. There are a lot of moronic things happening around me.
Because we were fucking morons all game.
Oh, them and the umpires. I'm going to give you some numbers, some stats, because I think we've done that to death, the coaches.
Fed our angry pills.
People get it. It's a good thing we had a little vent before we hit record, because otherwise this would have gone completely off the rails. More so than it has already.
It's still good.
We were plus 35 disposals, which is nice if you look at it. However, minus 24 kicks, plus 59 handballs, which was we overpossessed. We knew we overpossessed. I had a very grumpy old man talking at me on the way out how much we overpossessed the ball. And no, it wasn't me. Minus 15 contested as well, which we kind of saw coming. They're a very good contested ball side. I don't think that was an issue in and of itself. But that's the stat. The one that kills me, and it kills me every week, we comment on this every week. Plus 19 inside 50s. And this, I've got a stat, but I don't know of its validity, so grain of salt. I believe it's in a loss. It's the biggest differential since 2022 in the AFL. And it's our biggest differential since 2000 in a loss.
Well, the stat I have is that they were able to score from 38% of their entries in comparison to Essendon's 15%. Like, that's horrible.
That's goals, I take.
Yeah. Or score. Score a goal, yes.
Well,
So score a goal, yeah.
So the efficiency inside 50 for us was 45%, which hilariously is above average. Our average is 44.6.
Oh, that's our average?
That's our average, not the AFL.
Or the AFL's average, yeah.
Carlton scored 61%, which is above average for them. They normally go at 50. So, and then we had set shot accuracy of 33, and they were going at about 80% set shot.
Now, and I get that, like, Langford just can't kick the ball properly anymore, or, Stringers, I don't know if he knows where the goalposts are. He's a little
Stringer
confused.
kicked that lovely one from the pocket, but as soon as
but what about his dribble kick in the second quarter?
That was poor because Nick Cox was all by himself.
Yeah. Or if I was Jones, I wouldn't have given it to him. I said, no, I'm not giving it to you. I'll do these things myself.
And the ground was very wet at that point, and the ball was
it went straight hit
skid.
Anyway, things like that. And then is this added to the fact that guys like Kelly are up there who were
there's no full acumen whatsoever,
and Menzies down back, like just little things like that when you need. I don't know. I just was so frustrated. This is why I had to walk away at periods, because I'm all for making changes, but you start the game with your best team in your best positions because you want to get off to a good start. It's when things are hitting the wall and turning pear-shaped, you go, right, we need to try something different and that's the Martin going forward. That's your trigger. Remember years ago, Hooker used to go forward. That was
That makes sense. We've got a bit of a history of that with Hooker, with Hurley, and with Carlisle, if you throw the line back there. James Hird used to do it a lot, just with the keys. He'd chuck a key defender forward, and, Hooker turned into a pretty handy forward. Hurley was pretty handy wherever you put him, let's be honest. Carlisle was a very good forward. Kicked 8 goals in a game
Beautiful
twice,
mark.
I believe.
Beautiful
They
mark,
called him buckets for that reason. Anyway, we don't need to.
But that worked because you were down and you needed to go up and kick
that's
goals.
right. It was shit where we're borderline out of this. We need to make a change, not starting with it. And then going, we're out of this, so we need to go back to what
we should have started with.
Yeah.
And then on that too, like one other thing I mentioned too is I felt like the tag on Merritt in that first quarter killed us because he had one kick, I think maybe 2 kicks, something like that. One was off the ground. Late in the game, he might have kicked it all forward, but I was frustrated that the other midfielders like Durham and Perkins and Caldwell weren't blocking a bit for him, because that guy Chincotto was putting a pretty hard tag on Merritt, and I felt that allowed them. And it was strange, like in a game where Harry Mackay kicked 1, Curnow kicked 1, 2. Sorry, Walsh had maybe 17, and Cripps maybe 15 or 17 too. Like they barely touched the footy, those 2 midfielders.
Cripps had
19. So, but they weren't effective. Like I didn't feel like they like before. We did a little prequel. Before that,
I like that.
prequel.
Go with it. I like it.
Thank you.
I mean, yep.
And we talked about Mackay and kicking 3 and 4, and we talked about Walsh, and if we can keep him down, then we could be in it. That wasn't the problem. It was us.
If we'd gone back to that if we could go back in time and go back to that preview and say, Curnow and Mackay kicked 3 between them.
Yep.
Sam Walsh has 22 touches and Cripps has 19. Who wins? We've won that game easily.
And Martin has 2 kicks, 2 goals, and has
2 goals and 26 touches. Yeah. And you have 19 inside 50s more than the opposition. Actually, if you told me that bit, I would have said we'd lost because there's
because you know what goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, and this is the frustration. Like, I don't think I think we were bad, but I don't think we were bad in the right bad areas.
So let me finish reeling off the numbers, and then
bad ourselves.
I got some more on that.
Yep.
Plus 25 hitouts, we've covered that. Plus 10 free kicks, which is hilarious because I thought the umpiring was atrocious both ways, but I thought it was atrocious.
That one killed you, doesn't it, Sam?
Yep. We were minus 15 marks, but plus 4 marks inside 50. Again, just not taking those opportunities. Plus 21 tackles and plus 3 tackles inside 50. So my theory here with the umpiring, let me change that. My theory with the tackling is if you have more possessions, it's okay to have less tackles.
Yep.
However,
you got the ball more, you're not tackling.
Had more possessions by a little bit, albeit 35. It's not a huge number.
Yep.
Plus 21 tackles is enormous.
Yeah. So we had the ball, but we were always tackling them.
So many times where they had a guy break 1 tackle and then get tackled a second time, and it wasn't paid holding the ball. And the frustration that builds in the crowd is that then they get the soft one, or they get the holding the ball. That it might be holding the ball, that's okay, but you haven't paid it to us 4 times.
It's the inconsistency.
And it drives me insane. I love the new holding the ball rule, but it's fallen away this week because there were several, and there were a couple with us, I'll admit. I held my hand up and went, yeah, that should have been a free kick for sure.
Yep.
You don't seem to get in the back anymore from a tackle. If you fall in their back, it doesn't seem to exist. Sard completely shoved Gresham in the last or third quarter.
Yep.
Fully had a number 11 on his hand, and play on.
Yep.
Just what the hell? Oh, and there was one. All right, we're talking about umpires now.
It's happened. It's happened,
there was
people.
One,
Sam's rant has begun. Everyone sit back and listen. Go.
Can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Martin or someone. Socked it along the ground on the wing, and as it went out of bounds, Harry Jones was right there to pick up the ball, and the umpire paid insufficient intent. We literally had a bloke there about to pick up the ball, and you've pinned him for insufficient intent. I've never sat there in a game and thought more that these umpires fucking hate us. They're on the payroll of the Carlton Football Club. Someone check their betting accounts because Carlton were just getting... And the 50 that Martin kicked the ball back to the wrong guy, technicality, hate it, but it's a 50. No worries. Happened twice more where the Carlton player didn't give the ball back to us directly. No 50.
No, they probably went, oh, that was a bit harsh. We won't do that again.
At least gives one square up. Yeah, I just.
I don't know if it works that way.
I don't like jumping on umpires because it's an impossible job. You're always going to piss off someone, but it's the AFL and the fact that we were so red hot on holding the balls last week. So we had a massive rule shift from the week before to last week, and now we've had a rule shift again where now they seem to have gone back in their shells and won't pay these holding the balls.
They were in the other games, to be honest. Like, I think what might have scared them was the what game was that? The
West Coast and North game.
Yeah, the West Coast North, where
AFL picked that off.
There was no prior. Yo had no absolute fucking prior. And don't give me the whole he scooped it in. He picked up the ball. But, like, you've got to do that. You can't hit the ball away.
Am I wrong in saying the AFL ticked that off?
Yeah, they ticked it off because he dragged it in. I'm like, he picked up the ball and was tackled immediately. Like, he was up off the ground. He wasn't on the ground. He was up on his knees and went down to the ground. That's not fucking any world. He's got no time. Yeah. But anyway, that's my view. And they didn't. And the other annoying thing, just to jump on a different game, is West Coast lost that because they kicked fucking 5 goals 12 or whatever.
They were 2 goals 15 at one point.
Yeah, that's their problem, not the umpiring. Don't blame the umpire in the last quarter. The fact that you kick fucking a bit like us can't kick.
Yeah. All right. Good segue, because I don't want to sit here and bash umpires, but geez.
No, and look, and I agree with the umpiring decision, but the fact that we kicked fucking, 9-16 to 15-6, like, so that's just shit. Kicking.
Give you some numbers again, enlighten me numbers to back up the arguments.
Yep.
So score origin, as in
I love it.
No, let's do score sources first. Sorry, score sources. Yep. Stoppages 5-7, 37 to us, 6-4, 40 to them. Right, much of a
3 points, nothing in that. Yep.
Turnover 4-8, 32 for us to 9 goals 2 for them. Talk about making the opposition pay. That's what makes you a good side.
Yep.
Kick-ins, whatever. The origins, so where the score actually originated from. So this is different to the sources. This isn't going to add up. This is a different stat entirely.
Yep.
From defensive half, 3 goals 6 for us, 24. 8 goals straight, Carlton. Forward half, 4 goals 8 for us, 5 goals 4 for them, and centre bounce was equal 2-2 apiece. They're getting the ball out of their back half and scoring 8 goals straight. They're getting the ball off turnover and kicking 9 goals too. It's just, again, that's not an addition thing. That there could be overlap there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And when you look at that defensive half one too, it's 3. So we had 9 shots for 24 points. Yep. They had 8 shots for 48 points
and kicked 8 goals.
But, yes. Like, that's fucking. That's.
And
it's skill.
Is it skill? Is it skill? Are we saying that Kyle Langford's not good enough to kick those goals, for example?
I'm saying that.
Don't mean to pick on him, but
I'm saying that Kyle Langford since Anzac Days kicked 10 goals 11, which is not good enough. That's skill. Yeah. Set shot is a skill, and his set shot skills have fallen away for whatever reason. He's maybe got broken on Anzac Day for that one he missed, and he hasn't come back from that.
It's not. It's everyone, of course, too. It's not just Langers.
But it's the finish. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not blaming Langers. It's the finish work of the guys that had Menzies that had that shot. As I said, Guelphy had a set shot that should have been goals. There were plenty of them. Langers had shots that were goals. Like, there were plenty set shots that really should be just through the middle.
The problem with it too, I mean, apart from the overall effect on the game and the fact we lost, the effect it has on you as a team and in your head. So third quarter, we killed them. They barely had momentum, or they didn't have momentum at all in the third quarter. We pretty much killed them for the entire third quarter.
But we didn't get over them.
We kicked a goal, got back within 15 points. Late on, there's about 30 seconds left, less than. Yep. Perkins gets the ball out of a stoppage out the front, runs through 50, runs through 40, and you just go and shoot. Just fucking shoot. And he passed it to a 2-on-2 in the goal square to get spoiled through the easiest defensive act of the night. And you just go, Perko, you are a forward. But you're running into no one around you. You're running through 40. Kick the goal. Or have the shot. I don't care.
Have the shot. Yeah, kick the point even.
There's nothing to be gained from passing to a 2-on-2.
If it's a 1 all by himself, go for it, yeah.
And Langford has the yips, confirmed, because he had a mark 30 out and passed it to Guelphy in the goal square.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't see that bit. Yeah, I was happy I didn't see that.
And I was going, why?
Yep.
Golfy took the mark, kicked the goal, no worries.
But that's the yips.
That so often you do that and you turn the ball over.
But that's a guy's low in confidence. We've
Yes,
seen that before.
but again,
Joe Danaher used to do that. He'd like, I'll give it off.
Brad Scott, if you have the ball either in a set shot situation or running inside 50 where you have no pressure and you are within 40 metres of goal, unless you're right on the boundary, take the fucking shot. It is low percentage football to try and pass that.
Yep.
Fucking back yourselves, you dogs. Anyway,
and we sort of tell them we're backing themselves, but they can't kick straight. So,
but I don't care. You back yourself because
I agree with what you're saying.
They're AFL.
Your only way you're going to get better is you keep doing it.
Yeah, passing it
you're
off.
You're not going to be a better
out,
footballer by passing everything off to someone else.
He's going to be And that really is the theme of the entire night. We dominated second half in particular. First half, I think they were all over us in a lot of areas. Second half, they had 5 minutes of good football. It was at the start of the third quarter, and they kicked 3 goals and took the game away from us. I should have mentioned this with the umpiring. Harry Mackay kicked a goal from a free kick. Wasn't a free kick. Never in a million years. Harry actually grabbed Ben's arm and pulled it up.
Oh, yes. Early on. Yep.
The umpire paid the free kick against Ben. So I hope to Christ that gets mentioned on their podcast because it's never a free kick. Honestly, it's like if there's a one-on-one contest, the ball comes out quickly and goes to a one-on-one, the umpire has to pay a free kick to the forward.
No, they can never just let it go.
They're just looking for it. It was play on. I don't care that Ben...
But they barely ever call play on.
Yeah, I know.
They have to call something. They're like, oh, well, I better blow the whistle. It looked like something happened. I better blow the whistle.
You could have pinged them both for a hold, so just play on.
Yeah.
And then Kerno got one. I don't know. It might have been the Kelly one. Kelly gave away a free kick for a hold that wasn't a hold. I'm not sure if it was the Kerno one. Same thing. He had his arm like resting on his hip. Wasn't grabbing, wasn't doing anything. The arm was just there. Wasn't holding. Wasn't even preventing him from doing anything. Gets a free kick 15 metres out from goal. Just shitful umpiring. And if our forwards got the free kicks those two get,
they would have missed them.
Peter Wright would have kicked 0 goals 10, but yeah.
What's your takeaway? How do you go forward from this game?
You said what's your takeaway, Maccas?
Dad joke from Sam.
Oh yeah, it's always to do with my belly too. My dad jokes.
How do we go forward from this game?
Well, I think we have a week off and go and have a rest and get away and just clear the heads because I think there's some other issues creeping in. As I said earlier, there's a lot of pointing going on from Laverde, so there might be a bit of, a few things not happening that they expect of each other to happen.
Yeah, and they're cracking a little, do you think?
Maybe. I think, Brad Scott, you just need to, second half of the season, let's stop with these experiments. We've seen enough now. We've seen enough to go, Jake Kelly, you're a backman.
No, Martin, he'll keep playing.
Yeah, no. You asked me the question. I'm answering your question.
Yeah, you're right.
Nick Martin, you're a half forward / midfielder. Get in there, son. Or a winger. Rotate through. Whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Big tick on Sam Durham. Huge tick. You've put him in the middle. He's a bona fide midfielder now.
Yep.
Let's just go back to normal and say if you're a defender, you're playing defence. We'll get Redmond back after the bye so we can have a bit of normality in that back line.
Well, does the forward line need a little bit of a reshuffle? Like,
I think Pete's got some issues.
Does Stringer need a rest?
Maybe. Jake needs to go back to that whole I don't have to do everything mentality.
Yeah, I'm sick of him in the midfield. It's not
not even that. He had the ball on half forward in a contest and tried to fend off 4 of them. Somehow got away with it without a free kick. But it's like, bro, you had 4 handball options. Okay, just give it. And it's hard with Jake because we criticise that dribble goal, but then he'll do the miraculous and kick a goal and we celebrate it. Yep. So that's what you get with him. I don't.
But there needs to be better players around him.
When you're trying to fend off 4 blokes,
yep,
that's where I think you're trying to do too much.
I still think he needs to play a permanent forward role, like as in a close to goal sort of dangerous forward role from there.
I would venture
not midfield anymore.
To say if Parrish was in the side, he probably would have less.
Well, But then my argument with that is, well, then why not play Sardis in the midfield? Just put him in the guts. Say, well, mate, let's see. This is what your role is. This is what he was picked as, an inside midfielder. That's the thing. They're putting him as an outside midfielder. He's actually an inside midfielder. So I know he's too small and all that, but I've watched a kid at St Kilda, can't think of his name's from Wangaratta or something like that, Wilson, play nearly every game and been very, very good. We've seen, other first-year players be very good. Like, why not?
Why not? Why not?
I think the problem I have with the coaching is that I feel like he's coaching for now and results now, not coaching for next year and the year after when I think we could actually be good. And that concerns me.
This is what I mean with the buy. Take stock.
Yep.
Look at it and go, hey, we've played some really good footy. We're 8-4. Forget the draw. We're 8-4. We're double the wins to losses. So clearly some shit's worked. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe the fact that we've won games of football with Jake Kelly playing half forward
is
maybe that's the problem. Because it's quote unquote working.
Well, it's working as crap
game of
teams.
Football. What's our best win? GWS, right? Or Bulldogs?
One of those two, yeah.
Let's say GWS because it feeds my narrative.
Yep.
Jake Kelly played as a defender.
Yep.
Against one of the best players in the competition in Toby Green, and was very effective on him.
Yep.
Let's go back to that. Let's look at that as a coaching group and go, all right, Jake Kelly might be a defender. Who'd have thunk it? Not me.
No.
Nick Martin is a very damaging footballer. Let's play him forward or wherever because
he can go if you want to play him as that loose defender, okay, but you've got to have other defenders around him that will defend.
Play him in the defensive side of a midfield, whatever. He's not a
play him as a defensive winger.
Yeah, don't fucking play him as a half back. It's not his role. This is what sucks. It's the arrogance of continuing to do it. And it's the arrogance to keep doing it when it's not working. Jake Kelly offers nothing up the ground. And I keep harping on Jake Kelly. It's not his fault.
No. And
this is fully on the coaches.
We're bashing Jake Kelly.
No, it's just fully on the coaches. It used to be about Jake Kelly.
100% on the coaches. This is the coach's decision that is a shit decision and that all 3 or 4 or 5 of them, how many sit in that box, are making very bad choices at the moment. Yeah, and I cannot understand the Kelly one. Like either he's a half-backer or he's not in the team at all. Play Caddy as a forward. We just saw the new kid Sard kick 4 or 5 goals in the VFL. Well, he sounds like he can do a job forward. Like, the options are there. I cannot handle it. Jake Kelly, as you said, gives us nothing past the middle of the ground.
And gives us a lot in defence.
Back in the back half, he gives us something. Up the other end, do not walk past the centre line, mate. Get back down the other end.
Did you know, I saw a photo, Cal played in their Adelaide's grand final in 2017.
Oh, right. So he's good at losing.
Yeah. Good at power stance, if nothing else.
Yeah. Nice one. I really talked to him about the camp. Wasn't there a really bad training thing after that?
Yeah. It used to be about Jake Kelly. We used to not like him, but I think now we are firmly on. We like him in the team. He just needs to be a defender. So at Brad Scott and the rest.
And we can't. And this is not just about. So the other ones I can't. Sardis as the sub. I cannot handle that.
Yep.
That is a bad coaching decision. Goldstein needs a backup because he cannot do it by himself, and either play Nick Bryant or just somebody because even though Peter Wright's been good, when you drag Peter Wright out, now you've got just Jones down there. It's
quite dysfunctional.
The forward line. Then that's why you should play Caddy, because if you play Caddy and Peter Wright goes in the ruck, Caddy can at least give something. Well, we only seen him play one football, but it's what he is apparently is very strong at is hitting packs and bringing the ball down.
If they reckon he can play midfield, quite clearly he can get around the ground a bit and do a bit.
Anyway, it's
Let's give some votes.
The bye's going to come good for all of us.
Well, we're going to have to do a mid-season review, you realise.
Oh, fuck off.
We do. And I'll do it myself.
It'll be a lot like this. Just record this bit and play it again.
It's going to be a lot about Brad Scott and Jake Kelly here. We'll do some votes. So Angus has the closest as the listener this week. Second time for Angus. He thought he shithoused it last time because he commented late. this time. He got in early. He said Carlton by 25. They won by 26. There were a couple of Carlton 25, but he was the first. He did not give one vote to Minzy. Hang on. Let me fact check that. That doesn't sound right.
I'll do mine.
No, he did. He gave one vote to Menzies, 2 to Durham, and 3 to Martin. There you go.
I gave 1 to Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Loving his development. I think he's a real positive, and I know we were on a lot of negatives there, but he's actually strung a few games, and it's amazing when you let a young player just because I'm sure early in the season people were calling for him out of the team. But if you just let them play and let them get a bit of confidence, and they know they're not going to get dropped next week,
and you play them in a position,
play them
in
a position
for them,
yeah.
And Cox, we don't actually know what his right position is, but yet he's the one they found a position for.
No, and the commentators did make a great, and I've thought this for a while that Blitzarves he should have a poster of Blitzarves in his room and say, "I want to be like him," because that's exactly the player we should be trying to turn him into.
Apparently, Joe Watson did an all-time comment on commentary. Weird place to do it. He said that Nick Cox is ambidextrous on both feet.
Oh yeah, well that's
doesn't quite work there, Joe.
Yeah. Anyway, I think he's a really good winger for the future. For 10 years, he could be just a grey that bolts up and down the ground like a greyhound and takes a mark here and there. Mm-hmm. And then I gave the one. Sorry, what do I do? 1 to Cox. I'm still at 1.
Still at 1. Fucking get on with it, will you?
Oh, sorry. 2 to Merritt, 3 to Martin. There you go. Your turn.
Okay, good. I gave 1 to Merritt. I thought, again, being at the game, it's a different view, and I didn't think he was as influential. I gave 2 to Cox. I like Big Cox, and I cannot lie. Just 12 touches, but just the vibe. He was all over where he needed to be. He was doing good things, composed, all the good stuff. And I gave 3 to Martin because he changed the game when he went forward and kicked 2 goals. Should have kicked 3. Missed a pretty easy set shot, but hey, they all did. So, yeah, 3 to Marto.
Yep.
On to the VFL. So, nice big juicy comeback win against Carlton in the VFL. We were sort of 40 points down.
We should have been watching.
We were 40 points down, I think, early in the third quarter.
Oh, really?
And I watched about 3 minutes of it and saw Wiedemann take a contested mark. So now I think Wiedemann should be in the side, maybe, sort of, as a defender.
I've been calling for that for a while, Sam.
So 104 to Carlton 101, a real shootout at Windy Hill.
Oh, Windy Hill, is it Windy Hill too? Awesome.
The exciting part of this is Al Hawley, Sard, 27 touches, 4 goals and 8 marks, kicked 3 goals in the third quarter and basically single-handedly dragged us back into the game.
Exciting.
Allegedly
injure his ankle or something?
Hurt his ankle, but didn't think there was talk that it wasn't as bad as.
No, he was walking around. I saw footage of him after the game, all sort of high-fiving and sort of, going, yeah, it's all right. They were asking, you all right? And he goes, yeah. So
again, with a bye next week for the AFL side, gives him a chance, and I would suggest he is a chance to play coming into the West Coast game. Nicky Boy Bryan, 39 hitouts and 22 touches.
Good play, seniors.
It's such consistent output. It's 38, 39 hitouts and 20-something touches every week.
But him as a second ruckman with
I'm with you. I don't disagree.
And then Caddy, can I have 3 goals too from 13 touches? I mean, he sounds like he's a guy that can play forward.
No, who'd have thunk? Well, I'm a big fan of Caddy. I mean, I'd have him. We've got his shirt there.
I'm a big fan of him playing the rest of the year.
Oh, for anyone who can't see, there's a Caddy jersey behind me.
I'm a big fan of Caddy playing the rest of the year. I think like we talked about this earlier. We've won 8 games. We're 3 games short of what we won last year. We might not actually make that.
We should get it.
I'm going to make the call and say we might not. We might end up even. And what I want to see in the second half of the year is the guys now in the VFL who, because we've got the injuries obviously still. Like Paris just stands like he's still a few weeks out, and a few others. I think it's time to look at some of these kids and say, well, Sardis, you can go back, play VFL full games, or you can come into the midfield and play full games. And I'd throw Hind or guys like that out. And I know people are not going to be happy about that, but it's about the development of the club.
I don't think I saw Nick Hind after half-time.
But it's about the development of the club. And Nick Hind's 27, and he's been a great soldier. He's 27, 28. Great soldier, but you've... Sard, Caddy, guys like this, if just up 29. Okay, yeah, I wasn't in close. Yep. It's even Heppel would be one I'd be saying you can play some VFL, even though he's been great. He's been awesome. But I've got to think, this is my focus for the Essendon Football Club. It's not this year. It's not next year. It's that 25, well, that's next year, 26, 27, 28 years when before Merritt gets too old, because he's 27 or so. So in 3 years, he'll be 30. You're starting to tip over the other side of good football from Merritt.
It's 28. 29 in October.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're in trouble.
Yeah. I fully agree. I'm going to reel off the rest of the numbers from the VFL.
Sorry.
Jaden Davey 2 goals, Davey Jr. 1 goal, Shield 18 touches and a goal, Hayes on a lean run 13 touches and 2 marks. I think we've missed a chance to play him, reminiscent of the guy that went to Freo, Voss, last year. I think we've missed a chance to play him when he was in a bit of form. But anyway.
And he's played a couple of games in seniors football too, Vossi, and looked all right, to be honest.
I think we need to say tune in to a mid-season review next week, because there's plenty to talk about what we expect for the second half of the year. I don't want to crap on too much now because this is meant to be about the Carlton game. I want to mention...
There'll be some swear words next week, won't there?
There might be. Well, this is a hard thing, right? Because we did a preview at the start of the year and said we'd be happy with about the same because we've got a tougher draw. So if we won the 11 games, we'd be quite happy. At the bye, if you said to us then you're going to be 8 wins, 4 losses, we'd go, all right. Okay.
You're right.
And at worst, we'll be 5th on the ladder once the games happen next week.
Yep.
We're 3rd now, but we can drop to 5th.
Yep.
You'd be pretty happy with that. But again, we crap on so
especially
often.
if you said Parrish has missed most of the year, and Setterfield's missed most of the year, and Draper's missed most of the year. Like you'd go, yeah, that's geez, aren't we going
on so much that it's about how you play, and we just haven't quite been there.
I guess the thing is that we've seen potential now,
and we have expectations.
Yep, we've seen the GWS game, the Footscray game, the things like that. So we're like, but we need to see more. Like, I'm not saying. I guess you review your expectation every so often, and our expectation at the end of last year wasn't to be much better than this year, but the expectation halfway through this year is to be better than last year,
which I think we are, right?
Yeah,
I think we are, but I think we can to play against.
There's still things I'd like to see.
Oh, this is now crossing into a mid-season review.
Yep. Okay.
I want to give a quick shout out to Dan, who sits behind me at the G. I told him about the podcast on Anzac Day, and now he listens to it. So
on you, Dan.
Good on you, Dan. I love Dan. Dan's great, people.
How'd my seat go?
Well, funnily enough, Jace actually sat next to me. The guy didn't rock up, but he got him in, so it was great.
Yeah. That's all it's required for you.
I wish Jace.
Was anyone sitting in my spots? Do you ever look check?
No, because I don't know where you are.
I'm right. I'm at the MCG.
Yeah, I know, but if I turn around, I don't know where to look. It's just people. I can't go, oh, that's
there's 3 spaces there should be on the right hand side over your shoulder.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, but yeah. Jason's got a very loud voice and it scared me a couple of times. So I wish he had sat in your seat, but anyway. I would have still heard him.
He doesn't listen to the pod?
No. He gets my opinions live because we play games together and chat. So
that's good.
Anyway, he's taken to calling players cats if they're cowards, and I couldn't quite grasp that concept.
Is that like pussy?
Well, I don't think so. I queried that for that very reason because I don't like that.
Why cats? I don't
know. I don't get it either. If you can explain that to us, please.
Yep.
All right, that'll do us. Tough one, but I guess you can still. We're still playing okay football. It's just the final product's not there. I guess would be a summary.
Yeah, the finish is shitty.
The finish is pretty crap. By next week, we'll try and get a mid-season review done at some point, and then be back for the West Coast game after the bye. Go Dons.
West Coast and Geelong, isn't it, after the bye? That'll be an interesting couple of games, see where we're at.
Yes, it will be. All right, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your company. Go Dons.
Go Bombers.